Valve keeps saying what I don't want to hear, so I'm not going to put it in my earballs.
Nvidia thinks you want AI in your eyeballs.
And AMD's marketing comes true. Nvidia falls very far behind. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news that I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this Monday, September 25th, 2023.
It's Monday.
Why are you dancing?
It's Monday.
It's a Monday, and before we jump on into the news, we want to announce that the Cannonball for the Cure charity stream is next week. We have over $60,000 in committed prizes for giveaways.
Heck.
And we just launched our merch because with that $60,000, there's a lot of costs that we do in order to put on this event. And if you want to get one of the commemorative event shirts, you can pick it up at the link in the video description. We have some amazing designs designed by Reece and a community member, Foggy Jim. We've got Keyboard Warrior, Pixel La Vista, UFD Discovery. That's what UFD actually stands for.
Oh, yeah.
New Frontiers, Cannonball 3, and we're bringing back Getting Nerds, which is the exact hoodie that I'm wearing right now. So if you want to help support this Cannonball event that we put on, all of the shirts go towards the production cost. If you want to check them out, they are expensive simply because they cost a lot of money to get these like colorful prints, and we don't sell them in enough volumes to get like any sort of discount.
Yeah.
So it would be great if you wanted to pick it up. It'd help a lot. But
Join the team.
yeah, do that. And also mark your calendars for October 4th through 6th because you're going to want to tune in because there are giveaways that are going to be happening during the event.
Yes.
It's going to be so good. I don't want to spoil too much, but we've got a lot going on. But Valve doesn't want to spoil the Steam Deck because at the Tokyo Game Show, they came out and said what they've been saying. There's no new information here. It just hurts every single time. There will not be a Steam Deck 2 anytime soon. It will be
Twisting the knife further.
exactly a couple of years before that happens, talking about how they want to deliver a very stable experience for game developers where it's fixed performance for developers. And then there's also a situation where they're trying to balance performance and battery life, and they don't think any hardware on the roadmap right now actually delivers on that, which fine, Valve, I'll let you have that part. But here's the thing that I think needs to happen. I think Valve, if they're not going to release new hardware, needs to make SteamOS an open release.
I'm okay with that. I do like the approach that they're taking in terms of making it a console-like experience for developers. Fixed hardware, fixed ways to optimize the games for it to get a Steam Deck verified. But it still hurts.
Yes.
Knowing what else there is on the market.
Because SteamOS is so far above what Windows can do with gaming, let me have it on my Rugely.
Yeah.
I want to play it on my Aya Neo.
I want to put it on my Aya Neo.
I know it might not be as optimized, but it's better than going the hockey jockey way of actually installing these half-baked Arch Linux things that don't have all the secret stalls that Valve's been developing. I think if Valve's going to commit to not releasing a Steam Deck 2 for the next 2 years, I request SteamOS comes out so that we can either install it on our devices or we pay to install it. Charge us
money.
for it.
I would pay money for this.
Yeah, it's an operating system. Apple charges for theirs, Microsoft charges for theirs, charge me for yours. I'll pay for it. I want it.
That's an invitation.
And here's an invitation to check out today's video sponsor. It's so cute. Today's video is sponsored by Ugreen and their Nexode RG 65-watt charger. This little cutie is capable of charging so much. It has high-speed 65-watt fast charging, capable of charging an iPhone to 60% in just 30 minutes, and a brand new MacBook Air to 70% in just an hour. And with 3 ports, it can power all of your devices simultaneously. And it has a smart charging status display, with the mini screen telling you in real time your charging status with just cute little emojis that are happening whether you're charging or if you're fully charged and it's done. And the RG is designed to provide excessive cuteness and an abundance of power to your devices. The detachable shoe pin covers and flame retardant shell give it added durability and extra safety during charging, prolonging RG's service life. And the RG65 uses GaN technology to provide 95% energy conversion efficiency to reduce energy loss and effectively reduce heat generation during your charging. And with one GaN chip, they can reduce up to 8.8 pounds of CO2 production compared to traditional silicon chips. The RG65 is your electronic companion for fast, eco-friendly charging. And it has Ugreen's intelligent temperature control with thermal guard, which protects your devices in the event of unusually high internal temperatures or output by automatically adjusting power levels, better protecting your connected devices. And you can check out the Ugreen RG 65-watt charger at the link in the video description. It's currently 20% off with the coupon code 05Ugreen Ugreen KOL. Again, that's 20% off on this cute little charger that can handle your devices. And honestly, I think this is the neatest little charger I've ever had. But in case you don't need something as robust as the 65 watt, they additionally do have a little mini 30 watt that you can check out and start building your own little cute robot charging family. Big thanks again to Ugreen for sponsoring today's video. Well, Reece, you know how this is a robot and it's not a human? Mm-hmm. Well, that's the kind of gaming that Nvidia wants you to do, robot gaming.
Explain.
So Nvidia came out over the weekend talking about DLSS 3.5, which we covered in a video that you can check out right up there. I think that Cyberpunk 2077 looks incredible. It's the best it's ever looked. But with that, Nvidia did some marketing speak that I think indicates the state of where they think they need to push things, saying things like, I think DLSS 3.5 actually makes Cyberpunk even more beautiful than native rendering. That's my belief. The reason being that AI is able to make smarter decisions about how to render a scene, and I think that's going to continue to develop. And he even calls rasterization a bag of fakeness, saying native rendering is fake frames.
I'm gonna let him finish.
Okay, there's a little bit more saying, this is where I know this is 100% a marketing pitch. This was in a Digital Foundry video. This is the type of stuff you're beating into the consumer's heads so they start believing it. Moore's law is dead. We don't know as a civilization how to keep turning the crank on traditional ways of doing things. We have to be smarter. You fundamentally realize you have to be more intelligent about the graphics rendering process. Brute force. Let's re-render every frame 120 times a second at 2160p output. That is wasteful because we know that there are a lot of correlations in the output of any rendering process. And essentially saying that AI rendering, native rendering, rasterization all still have to go through some sort of pipeline. While I will agree DLSS 3.5 makes it look better than ever, I think the AI enhancements that come towards actually making ray tracing look good made it look better with ray reconstruction. But at the same time, I bet you if we had a card fast enough, just doing it right the first time would look the best.
Raw power.
He's not wrong. There is an element of like the fake frame argument only matters if it impedes your experience. If it's floaty, if it's too ghosty, if it's smearing all over the place. That's when you're like, hey, these AI frames, they're subpar. But I also think that the vast majority of gamers, people, who maybe aren't as good at video games as a legend like myself, they won't notice. And they will just have faster frame rate. It will look better to them. It will play better for them, and they won't care.
I'm all for optimizations. I don't like conceding things like extreme ghosting or anything like that. It's one of those things that I want to get behind it, but at the same time, I don't want to compromise and be told, stick with that.
Well, so that's the problem here, right? Like it's one thing for it to be a feature set that's added on. It's another thing for Nvidia to be like, this is how we render games now.
Yeah.
Moore's law is dead. Anybody who tells you otherwise is lying to you, which Intel's come out on their marketing being like, we don't know what they're talking about. Look, Moore's law is trending just as it always has. What are they referring to? And it's because Nvidia wants to be known as the de facto leader in things like AI development. So of course they're going to be pushing it at every sector of what they're trying to do. Does Cyberpunk look better than ever before? Yes, but I think it would also look best if we had an RTX 6090 that could brute force the path tracing.
Yeah.
That's my interpretation of the matter. But you know what? This is a future we all want. Android now making it so that phones on the new Android OS, what's it called? Android 14, can now be a webcam. To anything. USB-C out to being a webcam into your computer, into your tablet, into your other Android phone.
Okay.
Yeah, it gets all funky. You just turn it into the webcam and then it uses the cameras. I will say Apple did this first, but they did it wirelessly only on macOS, so this is a more broad implementation, but it's nice to see. You have high quality cameras in your pocket, and a lot of people ask me, what camera do I need to get started on things like YouTube or streaming?
Phone.
Your phone. Your phone's the best camera you likely have access to unless you want to start dropping big money.
Yeah.
Just use what you have. It's good stuff. And you know what I have? This guy.
Deals.
For the deals.
You're welcome.
No! I refuse to thank you. This is your job. You want to get thanked every time you get paid to do something?
Absolutely.
Good. Thank you.
And hey, we don't have any webcams for you today because we're starting off with EVGA's X20 wireless gaming mouse. I love this little thing. If you want a pretty bulky wireless mouse, you can pick this one up for only $24.99, making it $45 off.
EVGA going out of business?
Their peripherals do get discounted quite heavily, so I do wonder about that. But then next up, we have the InnoCN 13.3-inch 1080p portable OLED monitor, which you can pick up for $137.27 with the coupon applied, making it $62.73 off.
OLED?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And then lastly...
OLED, that's good. Sorry.
And then lastly, we have the really fancy Corsair iQ Link H150i, which is their RGB AIO CPU liquid cooler with the fancy fans and everything added, going for only $249.99, making it $100 off. It's expensive, but it's one of the best looking AIOs out in the market. It real pretty. And with that, the deals are done. You can find these and more linked in the video description down below. But until next time,
I'm not even waiting.
I'm gonna hand you off back to
I know
Fred
how this whole thing works.
He
just move
does things.
along. I don't know how Catlin's going to transition that one. I didn't give her any space to work with there.
You're just ruining it. Look at my lips. You're ruining it. Ruining.
And neither did Unity to their game developers. They made it, oh man, they made a lot of game devs mad, retroactively changing things, charging pricing for a model that they didn't actually consent to. And now we have what their new plan is moving forward. Are you ready for it? They don't change everything. So they are still moving forward with a lot of the changes. So they will have no runtime fee for Unity personal games. The cap is increased from 100 to 200. There's no requirement for the Made with Unity splash screen, and games with less than 1 million and trailing 12-month revenue are exempt for this fee. For Unity Pro and Unity Enterprise, runtime fee policy starts with the next version, not with the current version. So you have to opt in to using Unity.
But then they're gonna paywall all the new features behind.
That's true, but at least they're making it opt in. So that's the big change that they're making, where it's not, hey, you're currently using Unity and everything you developed your game on, you now have to start paying for it. It gives developers an ultimatum, essentially, which is not great, but it at least puts it in they're consenting to continuing with it, even if it's a more money structure from them. And existing games will be unaffected unless they upgrade to it. And then runtime fee options have changed. So it does seem like a lot of people are not as upset with all of these changes because there is that, hey, you have to upgrade.
There is the barrier of opt-in.
Yes. So let us know what you think of this. What have you heard from game dev circles on Unity's new proposal on everything that they're charging? Are they screwing people over? We want to hear from you down below in the comments. And I want to hear my next CPU go eeeeee!
Same.
With so much power. And that's what MSI's new BIOS on their Z790 Meg Ace Max. Because it's going to have beyond 6 gigahertz profiles for the 14900K 14th gen CPU, showing you right here, going up to 6.3 gigahertz easy one-click overclocking within the BIOS, which the 14900K is supposed to be the first chip that's not a special edition that can actually easily achieve these numbers. Who knows if you're going to be able to achieve these overclocks, but things are just continuing to go fast.
I love this.
Bigger number better.
Bigger number better.
Unless you're Nvidia.
Uh-oh.
Trying to use a Samsung Super Ultra Wide Odyssey Neo G9, this Mac Daddy monitor we talked about last week. It was $2,500, but if you used our link, you got $500 credit for it. Turns out, Nvidia and Intel cards can't use this thing properly, at least. And that big hubbub and talk about that AMD was doing with their DisplayPort 2.1, where they were like, we can drive 8K no problem. Look at Nvidia, they can't even do that. Turns out that's coming to fruition with this 57-inch Super Ultra Wide. But not for the reasons that you would think. So HDMI 2.1 is technically capable of running this because it has 48 gigabits per second of bandwidth, and this monitor only needs 32 gigabits per second. But if you look here, only the AMD RX 7000 series is capable of running it at the half 8K 240 hertz speed, and everything else is at 120 hertz or 60 hertz, depending on what they have. So it does seem like Nvidia has something going wrong here. It turns out some investigation, because cards could use a technique known as display stream compression, which takes the video signal and goes, you gotta fit in the pipeline. Nvidia's DSC setup doesn't allow it to do it properly. Their display stream compression doesn't have enough pipelines. It's not the bandwidth of the output, it's the actual DSC compression input-output situation they have in their RTX 40 series cards. That's not enough to do it.
There's probably going to be just a handful of angry 4090 users right now
that can only run this at 120 hertz, which number one, a 4090. What game are you, you don't even have enough to do that. And then secondly, right, like, yes, let's celebrate the fact that AMD does have a win here with the 240 hertz, but with this 7900 XTX isn't going to be able to really do that.
Indie games.
Or, you're playing CSGO, not even CS2, trying to get that 240 hertz at that resolution. Speed.
Yeah.
Like, you would have to drop the quality so much. I understand. It turns out it's not AMD's like full sale output marketing, but it's there are limitations in the 40 series where monitors are now outpacing our graphics cards.
Surprise.
It's good to see that happen. And we're gonna outpace hot news to move on to comment response. It's time to talk about what y'all talked about. We got a super thanks in Friday's episode.
Interesting.
From French Fry in Your McDonald's BA8688. Saying, love all the work you guys do. Waking up in the morning is so much better with you guys delivering tech news. So finally, here's my first YouTube donation.
Hey, yo,
we really appreciate it. Not obviously expected at all. Also, if you want to give money, save it for the Cannonball for the Cure, donate to the charity, or buy one of our merch shirts to help us out with that. We really do appreciate it. Ken Otwell saying, I've owned 2 Falcons. They're amazing machines, optimized for stability and performance out of the box and last forever. We saw so much love about Friday's sponsor, Falcon Northwest. Some good stuff going on there. Tame's talking about the flat pack style being a good one. The Case Labs cases were a great example of how that can be done well. And the Thermaltake W100, W200 series is versatile. I've built a great rig out of the W100 case, and it was a lot of fun. I especially like the inclusion of wheels as an option instead of solid feet. Well,
modular cases is the future I want.
I want $700 wheels.
That's true.
That's what I want.
Sports mode.
3R Ton saying Unity had a clause that allows them to revoke all the promises that they made in the sub-license. Removing that and adding license level clause that guarantees you can stay in the license you are in if they make changes in the future is significantly better than what they had. It's good to know. There's a lot of details with all how this plays out that not 100% confirmed with. Nope.
I still hate all of that.
It moved on really weirdly. We'll see how the community responds to Unity's new changes. Volcano Penguin saying, Broham, you got Falcon Northwest as a sponsor? Hell yeah, UFD is making the big comebacks in the States. We are. Hey, it's been great. And then also saying 50 grand in prizes? How the hell does a channel like this still not have a tech rep? What is AMD, Nvidia, Intel, Asus, MSI, Gigabyte, etc. doing with their lives? No, seriously, what's the holdup? So I will say, a lot of that 60 grand in prizes that we do have is because companies like Nvidia came in at the last second and were like, hey, we want to work with you on that. If you go check out our merch, even if you're not going to buy it, look at the back of the shirt.
There's a whole list of sponsors right there.
That is the list of sponsors that we have for the Cannonball for the Cure. I can't say enough good things about the companies that step up to the plate and actually support us to cure my son's rare disease. You will notice Nvidia's on there, MSI's on there, Galax is on there, Fractal, NZXT, V1 Tech, Falcon Northwest. They're all on there because they recognize that like we are doing a good thing for the tech community. We're doing something that's very personal to me. This is the event to be part of. There's a couple companies that, weren't able to step up to the plate for financial reasons or just lack of interest. And to which I say, we'll show you. We'll show you. This will be the event that's just good for the community. I really like what we can do with the Cannonball.
I'm excited. I keep hitting the desk. I'm excited for this.
But also, if we could get more like review samples so that we could actually do reviews as they're relevant, that'd be helpful too.
Always helpful.
Because out of the $60,000 that we're giving away, your boy is taken out of my stock. Like the things that I've purchased to make videos with, I'm now also giving away. So it gets a little pricey when you have to do it that way. Speaking of pricey, Coalition Gaming said, you don't gotta spend a ton to get a good quality podcast setup, Brett. Sennheiser goes on saying $50 each and then get this interface mixer that's only around $200. I retorted to this one because there were several comments when I was talking about the podcast setup. Yeah. And I was just like, I don't want to spend a whole lot. And then Coalition Gaming and others came in and were like, you don't have to spend a whole lot. You just have to spend $400.
I was going through a couple of these comments.
That's a lot of money to spend on a pilot. I know I don't have to get SM7Bs. Yeah. I know that I don't have to buy the highest of high end, Scarlett setup where it's like 85 inputs and digital mixing, and I know I don't have to do that. I know I can get away with it I can get price to performance level stuff, but $400 is still a lot of money
to drop on something we were just testing out.
Exactly. Pete Moss saying, polished turd aside, I'm actually liking the 460 in Envy edition. Although I went with one of the best the Team Red had to offer, I'm liking the retro look.
Told you it looked retro.
It does look retro. Elijah Crafter saying, thank you for the yummy deals, Deal Master. You have made me impulsively buy those headphones.
Hell yeah.
That's what we support here, impulsively buying stuff, but save your money for the Cannonball for the cure. Dianolar saying, it's funny how Intel had so little innovation until Ryzen came along, and when it did, they made fun of it, saying stuff like it was glued together. Now look at their stuff, adding more cores, doing chiplet-like things, and now doing something like 3D Vcache. Comes full circle, but I do like how cheap CPUs have gotten. Intel didn't have such little innovation until Ryzen came along. Intel legitimately had engineering problems.
Yeah, they were stuck for a little bit.
They were stuck on the node transition. Intel's problem, they didn't get resolved because AMD came along and released Ryzen. Intel's problem didn't get resolved until they put tons of engineering resources into figuring out how to fabricate at 10 nanometers.
I wonder how much money that cost them.
It cost them billions of dollars. We're now seeing, like, all of the financial hardship that Intel's having right now is because of that. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to stay at the top. You're telling me they tried to seed the market? No, they were stuck because of just technological issues that they couldn't figure out. Biker Bones saying, are you one of the poorest? Asked Brett, knowing full well how much Reece makes in a year. That's a good point.
I saw another comment about that. They said it broke them.
Jimmy UK8DF saying, I think Brett and Reece are playing a game with us. I feel like we are going to keep having Reece here for hot news, and he's just going to keep saying tomorrow's his last day. Gren saying, thank you. I thought I was going insane. And Nikita saying they are definitely 100% married to each other, and Reece is here to stay. I have a ring. Do you have a ring?
I don't have no
Reece
ring.
is not married to me. A lot of people caught on finally on Friday that it was a bit that we were doing.
Tomorrow's my last day.
Yeah, no, he'll be on the Cannonball. We're bringing Reece on the Cannonball. Reece does have a final last day. We will have a big stream planned for that.
Yeah.
Give Reece the proper send-off to go back home. But we wanted to make sure that he could join us on the Cannonball before he heads back. But everybody who's suggesting ways to get Reece to stay, it's not happening. Like,
I have a home to get back to.
Reece lives in South Africa. It's great to have him here for this long, but at the same time, it can't be forever.
Nothing's forever, friends.
We're going gray.
I know.
Got him.